What we're going to have a lot to do is shoveling out the mess stacked up in the barn called Parliament in Canada at the hands of our deviant in chief, right? So we're not at the good stuff yet, but we're getting there. So next up, guys, is this is what your tax dollars pay for. 22 minutes. This is a professionally cut mockery of. I'll just play it.
We did it, babe. We finally left the States. We really moved to Canada.
Almost left during COVID, but this election was the last straw. No more right-wing fascism for us.
You the new neighbors? Where you from? Let me guess. Latte-sucking, gender-swapping, oil-hating Toronto?
We're not Canadians.
You're immigrants. Why don't you go back to where you came from?
But we thought Canada loved immigrants.
That was the old Canada. The new Canada loves Jordan Peterson storming the Capitol and telling people to go back to where they came from.
Oh, look, honey. Free Canadian healthcare. Hey, you can't just leave him there.
Not my problem, lady. Hallway at the hospital was full.
I'm fine. It doesn't look like it's going to rain.
Get back in the truck.
But Trump, this is tolerant progressive Canada.
I will leave you here at the lab, Helen.
Mexico?
Are they gone?
Yeah, good one.
Should probably take that down.
Canada may not be perfect, but it's not going to get much better if Americans start buying up all the houses. Do your part.
Are you just gonna stay there?
I got a pizza coming.
That is the twisted Canadian sense of humor, right? That was the funniest thing that I've seen CBC do in like years and years and years. But at least they nailed one in the last 10 years with your tax dollars of whatever 1.3.5 billion dollars, whatever it is they're getting this year. So we're gonna give a couple of shots down in the States here tonight. Tonight is, we got Bill Maher, and this is it's surprising to me. I never thought Bill Maher would be kind of a regular on our show, but he made a brief appearance last week as well. But this one's pretty rich too. So I just kind of gathered some of the stuff that tickled or triggered my bizarre sense of humor. I didn't want to be just about end of the world tonight, so that's why we ended up with roast night. So Bill Maher gets in on the roasts on the woke Dems.
You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended, and you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but fuck your feelings. Look at this chart. You've seen my "In this house we believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched. Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded. You wear Queers for
Does that not kind of hit home to Canadians and the royal family, or the self-anointed royal family that we have up here? Because that is exactly how Trudeau sees himself, as he inherited Canada. He is royalty up here, and that is he ended up being the retarded child that somehow ended. And I'm not a big fan of that word, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be offended by that, applying it to Trudeau, sorry, I guess you got to be offended. Unfortunately, it's hard to have good jokes without offending somebody. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of tonight. And I got to put a disclosure out here, guys. Please note this roast is crafted in humor and exaggeration, not as a factual critique. It's meant to entertain in a lighthearted, albeit crude manner. So kind of set it up a little bit. I used the exact same directions when I asked Grok to roast all of the Canadian political.
I'm not that interested. Canadian politics are just such a disaster. There's nothing there for us. Looking forward to having Corey join us here in a second. But so I'll put
Man
that
who
back up
thinks
again
he's
so you can
Canada's
listen
answer
it,
to
but
the world's problems, but ended up.
It's comical for sure. Grok nails it for sure. It's just I'm so done talking about politics.
When Trudeau was all about
There,
those
I'll
colorful
let you guys
socks,
watch.
sure, it's a fun fashion
It's probably more
statement, but
interesting
for a
than just
prime
watching me.
minister, it's like showing up to a
By
board
myself.
meeting when the clown nose on. He's the kind of guy who'd wear socks with sandalwood just to prove he's different. Mr. Peoplekind wouldn't do that, would he? The drama teacher. Before politics, he was a drama teacher. That explains a lot, doesn't it? Now Canada feels lead, but has forgotten all the lines except his own, and every movie is Top Gun. And he is Tom Cruise in every movie, right? So he's also a blackface enthusiast. He's done it so many times you can't remember. Oh, Justin's Halloween parties must be legendary. He's got more blackface photos than most people have photos of their kids. It's not just a faux pas, it's a whole album of cultural insensitivity that he thought was just another costume to wear, right? And somehow or another, he's the great escape artist. He managed to escape from his marriage faster than he can escape from accountability. His wife probably left because she realized she was married to the human equivalent of a participation trophy. I think she likes the perks. I think she was at the Swifty concerts too. But people kind, I love that line. You know, he is the human equivalent of a participation trophy. Nailed it. People kind. Yes, he actually said people kind instead of mankind because apparently he thinks it's on the cutting edge of gender neutrality. This from a guy who probably giggles every time he says diversity because he thinks it makes him sound progressive. Taxpayers' burden. Trudeau's idea of managing finances is about as effective as using a sieve to hold water. He's got Canada in debt like it's a personal favor to the world's banks. Nailed it again. The Great Divider. Under his watch, Canada has seen more division than a math textbook. He's turned the country into a soap opera where every episode ends with someone yelling, "You just don't understand me." The apologist. If Trudeau had $1 for every time he's had to apologize for something, he might actually manage to balance the budget. From blackface to his economic policies, he's the king of I'm sorry, but I'll throw a few $1,000,000 at it. What is it this week announced? $46 million for dogs? Right. Got it. Right. So here's to Justin Trudeau, the man whose legacy might just be remembered for his awkward dance moves and his ability to make Canada look like it's one big politically correct drama class gone wrong. Whoa, nailed that. If he ever runs for office again, maybe he should campaign on a platform of I promise to make fewer cringe-worthy moments, but knowing him, that'd probably just become another thing to apologize for. Well, I think I have to say that Grok is right yet again. So this was my first dabble with Grok. And this was the part that I said I wasn't going to do it. I said I don't use AI. But I was tempted. Temptation.
Howdy.
I'm
Sorry
glad
about
you're
that.
here.
I'm
Don't
just
be
doing
sorry.
multiple things at once, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
No worries. No worries. Wayne's just sharing his roasts that he made with grok today.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm not that interested. I mean, it nailed it. It got pretty good. Like, it definitely called him out for, being a puppet for the banks and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's like, I'm just tired of talking about how bad politicians are. It's not their fault. Like you gotta have pity on a cat for being a cat, don't you know? Like, you don't hold it against it. You just stop trying to expect narcissistic psychopaths to behave differently. And
they're
for God's sake, stop voting for them.
They're puppets of a corrupt system. Well,
Yeah.
like, what are we expecting them to do?
Exactly. So, how are things? Oh, my hair's all disheveled and everything. I really need to get it trimmed so I don't look like an out of control hippie. I mean, yeah, sure, we're going through the AI bubble and making money while we're doing it, but I don't have to look like I'm homeless, right?
It's all good. It's the way it's meant to be.
How was work today? Back to the grind.
Work was good. I'm dealing. I have to do some paperwork because there was a fight on the bus again on Friday, so gotta get that all sorted out.
Yeah. Man, you know what's fascinating? I want to hear more about how that works. Like, that's more interesting than grok roasting politicians.
I know. Well, I mean, it's pretty good. You know, I'm starting to, like, I don't have kids yet, but I'm dealing with situations every day, and it's making me know how to deal with kids. It's just it's forcing me to figure things out, right?
Right.
So, anyways, I had one situation the other day. Is my video slow or is it okay?
It's kind of choppy, yeah.
Okay. I'll have a look here at my Wi-Fi network. It might be getting a little bit better. Or maybe it's because it's on the 2.4. Let me switch to 5. I don't even see it here. All networks.
I think what I find most interesting about your work is just what you are and are not allowed to do. Like, I remember one time, I can't remember what it was. I maybe wasn't sitting down or something. But I remember the bus driver slamming on the brakes, and I was tumbling in the alley or in the aisle going towards the front. And I look up and he goes, "Get out." And he opens up the door. Like, that's how he dealt with me, you know? So when I'm hearing how these kids are with you, I'm like, well, why don't you just kick them out the door?
Yeah, that'd be nice. And then they have to walk home in the cold. But yeah, nowadays, I mean, we have such a buttered up society that you can't do anything, right? It's
right.
It's brutal. So we have to, we have to be so tone deaf now, which is just ridiculous. So, but I find one thing that really worked for me was these two girls they just always seem to go at it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give you two a choice here. I'm like, one, you can pick your own seats apart from each other, or two, I'm writing you both up. What's it going to be?
Nice.
And they're like, I'll pick my seat. I'm like, okay. But it gives them accountability, and that's these kids are smart enough to know better.
Right.
And if you give them the choice and they make the right one, you're like, okay, I set them up for success.
Yeah.
Rather than me having to yell at them, it's like, you guys know you're screwing up, so what you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Is there any situation where you can just slam on the brakes?
I know some drivers have done that. I haven't. If the kids are loud and they're misbehaving, I just pull over and I stop. And why are we moving, bus driver? Because you're being loud and obnoxious, and I can't focus on what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
And that it does. Then the kids start policing themselves.
Right. Oh yeah. I want to get home. Stop.
Yeah,
sit down.
Bobby, sit down.
Yeah. Nice. Good job. Good job. You got yourself your own little government going on there.
Yeah. I should start taxing the kids. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a little bit of lunch on the way home, right? You gotta save some lunch for me, and you bring it to me when. Oh, that'll be great.
I'm sure that'll go over really well with the parents.
And get all the snacks. Oh no, you just tell the parents exactly what's going on, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Teach my kids some virtue. Bring the bus driver a tip."
Well, and the kids eventually learn too. I have their parents' phone number, so I can, just call the parents after I'm done my bus run, and
Yep.
they'll get a whole nice mix of problems to deal with when they come home.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So, what else is up? What else is new? What's happening?
I'm just updating a Linux machine that I haven't fiddled with for probably 3-4 months.
Oh yeah.
But it has a full lifetime of updates, right? It's a never-ending system.
Right. Yeah.
Which is lovely. So you can just basically put a desktop in the back corner of a room and unplug it for years, and then go plug it back in, and it's going to update to the latest settings and software.
Perfect.
One thing that I think makes Windows and Mac obsolete.
Yeah, well, that's a huge feature. I think Mac is going to stick around for a little while longer, especially now that they're coming out here next month with their Apple Intelligence. I do question though. they say it's all private and all the rest, and I'm honestly I'm not that concerned about it, because like, two things. Number one, when you got firewalls, right, that data is not attributed to you. And then the second thing is you know what? I would love for the computer to do more of my online work. I would love to not have to stare at that pale blue light coming out of the palm of my hand to email someone or text someone. And I would rather not be standing in front of me. You saw what happened the other day there. I just all of a sudden just felt nauseous. And I think it was that day I was probably good 8 to 10 hours in front of all of these panels. We're not supposed to be spending time. It's not meant for human consumption.
No, it's not. And I completely agree with you. How sweet would it be if, and I love the idea of a smart speaker, something that you can talk to and get answers.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea is trusting where that data is going. That's our biggest concern.
Right.
It'd be great. I love it if I can cook in my kitchen and be like, ask for a recipe, or hey, what's the best way to boil a potato?
Yeah.
Should I poke holes in it or something? That kind of stuff is great, but now Google's gonna link you up as some idiot that doesn't know how to boil a potato.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then again, I take a look at another thing that's really you bring up a good point that I think is actually really good about AI, and that is the freedom of education. See, people complain about how much the education costs. Well, hang on a second. Now it actually doesn't cost anything, because with ChatGPT you can go ahead and learn anything you want. Like, I didn't know ever. I never prepared rouladen in my life. And I hate all of those stupid recipe websites. They're terrible for ads.
Yeah.
So where am I going? Well, I just open up ChatGPT window on my phone and I say, hey, you're a Michelin star chef that specializes in helping people prepare fine dishes at home. I've got a bunch of rouladen. What do I do? Now I'm actually having an engaging conversation with a machine, instead of these archaic search engines that we got to go through how many ads to get at. Like, that's just cooking rouladen. You know, you can like. There's another guy that I know. He's actually in the last year, he's taken 2 college courses in computer programming, simply so he can prompt AI better to write programs. He's not learning it to become the master. He's learning it so that he can make better prompts. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think, you know, it's not so much people are going to be losing their jobs to AI. They're going to be losing their jobs to someone who knows how to use it.
And that's why the best thing people can do, and most people are saying this now, is learn how to use AI so that when the opportunities come available, if you're one of a few that knows how to use it, you're setting yourself up for success.
Totally. Yep, totally. And remember, everybody, this is an AI bubble. I think that the pop of this bubble is going to coincide with the collapse of the financial system, and then we're going to see like 6 months to a year of pain and suffering, and people are going to be aching, you know, especially to maybe with Elon Musk go to Mars or something. You know, they're gonna be begging for a solution, and they're gonna come up with that good old fashioned digital ID to combat all of the terrible things that happened with AI, how it crashed the entire stock market system because of a cyber attack. You know, that's going to be the crisis. Trump brought forward the crisis of COVID. It boggles my mind people don't think he's going to bring forward the next crisis. I mean, for crying out loud, the biggest crisis that America faced while Biden was president was the troops that were left abandoned in the Middle East, right? Or rather, the equipment that was abandoned in the Middle East. That was the biggest thing he had to face.
Yeah.
You know, so of course, and by the way, he's a bumbling idiot, pretty much retarded, and senile, and all the rest. So incapable. And I just believe that 4 years was the Democratic campaign to ensure that everybody would vote for Trump next time.
Yeah, totally.
If they wanted someone better, they would have. If they wanted someone to compete with Trump, they would have found someone who can complete a sentence.
Well, and this is why I do believe in the Great Awakening theory, because I'm like, it's purposefully done, I think, to wake people the heck up, because you and I can see it, so we see it's literally just fitting perfectly together as a puzzle, the puzzle they designed.
I believe that yes, it is being used to help people awaken. I'm not even sure if I like that term anymore. It's such a, I don't know. I get what people are saying. My concern with it is that we're actually already there. Like, there's nothing we actually have to do. Our natural state is awake. That is our natural state. So it's not like we're waking up. We're just becoming aware of the fact that we're how awake we are, I think. And I get that it could very well be that Trump is, you know, a part of this. Well, he is for sure in the grander scheme of things. I just don't know that it's deliberate. I think that it's just another show. I mean, think about it. The guy was, you know, coming out of the 2008 crash, and wanted to boost up his revenue by going on reality television as an actor. Well, he's just continuing the same career, folks. Like, there's no difference between him and Zelensky, or Trudeau, you know, the drama teacher. There's actors. No real difference. They're just actors. They're just actors playing on a stage, and y'all are subscribed, and you make sure that you get in there, you know, your 2-3 hours a day to pay attention to the entire charade, because that's so important. You know, what goes on that stage is somehow really, really going to affect your purpose. Like, you know, it's sad. It's sad to watch, and I need to be less angry about it and just recognize that, hey, all I can do is help people where they're at right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're all having to learn how to steer our own ship in the ocean of chaos that they are putting out.
Yes, I think that it could very well be a case of, Harmageddon, or sorry, Hormageddon is the name of the book. The subtitle is perfect description of what I think it would be happening if, in fact, Trump was a good guy. We're at the point in this momentum of this behemoth known as the United States of America. We're at the point in the momentum where, it's too much of a good thing, which is a very real effect that can occur. It ties in with the fourth turning, or like the good men create good men create good times, right? But bad times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
Yeah.
That same cycle is I think we're seeing that at the level of this operation known as, the Awakening.
It's playing out right in front of us.
Yeah, an unintended consequence, but natural. A very natural consequence that is unintended simply by virtue of people thinking that they're doing the right thing. Yeah.
It's good though. I'm glad things are going the way they are. I mean, I know there's going to be rough patches, but it's going to be a lot harder for people that aren't aware of what's going on versus people like you and me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that if you are scared, it's only at this point, if you're scared about what's going to happen next, it is only because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
The only reason I was scared was because I didn't know how long it was going to take for people to finally say, wait a second, this tyranny thing isn't working out. We can probably not elect our way out of it. That point, I think, is actually getting closer. It's just still going to be a ways off, probably 6 months to a year before finally the conversation is serious enough for people to take some action. But it's watching that happen and not knowing how far are they going to take this. How much more, like you think about how much death and destruction, genocide, mass murder, chemical warfare, coercion, like all of the crimes against humanity that have been committed over the last 4 years, you would it hurts to see how much people are willing to tolerate before they finally start evicting, exile, and executing their leaders as necessary.
I know, I thought too a long time ago, right? Like even a year ago, that people would have had an uprising already, and still here we are.
Yep.
This all dragging out still, and it's baffling. Like I certainly thought that we'd be seeing people getting rounded up over the vaccines by now.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened, and now I'm glad to see it happen again because like with Trump, he's installing basically Democrats in his own party, and it's like there you go, people that you're giving away your authority again until you stand up. It's just going to continue.
Yep. Yeah, someone that I follow on X, he said, if you had 5 minutes with Trump, what are the top 3 things you would tell him to do in his first few weeks of office? I think he might have said 30 days or something like that. And I said, number 1, resign. Number 2, call for the election of the Republic. And number 3, help all the communities conduct mass deportation. There you go. If he doesn't do those things, he's not on your side.
Yeah.
By the way,
Right? It's like this or treason. That's what it should be. This or treason. It's that simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the purpose of the government is to go to the people and say, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do they do that? No.
No. Like they don't even apologize after doing it.
No.
You that would be nice. That would be a step.
Yeah. You're paying someone to slap you with your own money. Like,
Yes. Oh. Well, and in this case, jab you.
yeah,
Yeah. Like, oh, it's just wow.
jab you, treat you like an experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually working on a great deal of paperwork right now regarding this whole thing, and helping people recognize. So it is a well-known fact that a state of war could be present without people actually knowing that the state of war is present. And given the fact that this was an assault against the people, starting in 2020, the assault began, where the initiation of force or the exercise of authority was exercised over, or rather, the exercise of authority was used over people's consent. Those are all crimes. Those are all crimes. And a declaration of war, especially when it's being conducted by the government against the people. So going through the list of all these different crimes against humanity is actually quite fascinating to see how many of them occurred during this time of war. Well, if in fact this is the case, then we have to activate Geneva Convention, because now they have to behave in accordance with the rules of war. The Geneva Convention is very specific. If anyone is caught providing funding to anyone who is guilty of genocide, slavery, any of the human rights violations, if you're providing funding for such an organization, you can be considered an accomplice to the crimes. So this presentation that I'm working on is actually showing individuals why they must conduct a tax revolt.
Yeah.
And the reason why they must is because their government, who they continue to pay, is guilty of international crimes against humanity. And the last thing anybody wants is to be named an accomplice to such a crime.
And this is what I could see happening, and this is just my picture of a solution for the world. If Canada and America, and the United States got on the right side of things and stopped paying their taxes, and it was a gigantic revolt against the governments that we currently have. And maybe there'd be portions of South America that have to do it too, because there's a great deal of them that are corrupt as well that would need to do this. But if Russia saw that happen, the dynamics of everything would change in a snap.
Mm-hmm.
They would literally be right there to work with us, because they would want to be our partners, our friends. Because I mean, regardless, I don't see Putin as a great guy, but I see him as very wise and very smart.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to kill the entire world. If he wanted to, he would have done that by now.
Right.
He has the power at his fingertips to just nuclear annihilate the entire globe. And he could do that in a matter of 20 minutes, and the whole thing is, boom, you're gone.
Yep.
Reset. We would all be just some of us might be some crispy potato chips, like that's basically it. So and that's just it. People have to realize that this change happens as fast as they want it to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of them making that choice.
That's right. That's all it is.
It's uncomfortable, sure, but it's a necessary choice to make.
Well, I mean, look at the Boston Tea Party. The revolt that they had was over a 1% tax on tea. And they lost their shit and toppled the government. Like, folks, like how and that's the thing, right? My biggest fear, the reason why I was scared, was because although I had prepared for the day for myself, what I was not prepared for was just how terrible people would be in their response to all of it. Like, I didn't expect the government to have a good, positive response to COVID. Nobody in their right mind should have any expectation of the government doing anything for their benefit,
No.
except by their direct order. Right? Again, the government is subject to the people. That's law. So if your government has made you subject to it, that is not the government's fault. That is it simply trying to take governance away from you, and you got to stop it. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, for myself, I didn't feel scared because I knew this day. 2008 is when I knew about the digital ID. 2014, I knew about what was going on with the war and who was who, and I knew who I wasn't, and that meant that I was likely on a target for my mortal enemy, which now we're learning about that, who that is. And if you need to know, if you don't know, if you're watching and you still don't know who our mortal enemy is, I don't say it because I would rather not go to prison, but I can give you a hint. It's whoever committed genocide over the last year, relentlessly committed genocide for the last year. That's who our enemy is.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because it's like people are like, oh, what a religion. It's not even a religion. They do not have that freedom of religion is one thing, but categorically Judaism is not a religion. Anyway, that's as far as I'm going, by the way. If we want more, it's going to not be streaming on YouTube, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to fear. People need a plan. If they don't have a plan, if they don't see how they can get through this, they are going to be scared. And I would love to sit down with anyone. I love helping people with this. And it's really exciting because Audrey out of Drayton Valley now, she's really pushing hard to get the farmers market started. Because what they have there is part of the Alberta Farmers Market Association, and you can't have products, you can't have natural products at those things anymore because you don't have a license. So you can't even become a member unless you provide all the information about every product you want to sell to the private domain. It's just the most ridiculous thing. So yeah, new market, thank you very much. And P.S., by the way, if you have products, say natural products, and they are being restricted by the government with, certain requirements and approvals and labels and all the rest, you can just tell them to pound sand. You don't have to pay attention to any of that. Remember, the people actually have governance over the government. The government is only has the level of governance that the people are willing to consent in tolerating. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the degree of authority they have. So what you do is that if you don't want the government to exercise their authority over your consent, you're free and unalienable right of association by doing business with someone, selling something you created or you produced or you're providing. You can do that. You are totally allowed to do that. Totally lawfully allowed to do that. We just encourage you to not do it in Canada, but that doesn't mean you have to go anywhere. It just means you stop using the Canadian currency. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's not worth anything, and it'll never be worth anything more than what it is today. And in fact, its value is free falling. So why would you want to stick on it? And P.S., especially when you have another option where the value of your contracts are not determined by the value of a currency that's being manipulated every day, but rather by the contract and the exchange being done between you and the other in the private domain. Boom. Now we've done our mission. We can now say our economy is now self-governed. Our government can't govern an economy if everybody has privacy rights to their property. Right? Once we this was I was going to say when you were talking earlier. Automatically, you're absolutely right. The relationship that we have with our government is going to be a hell of a lot better when they no longer have the bargaining chip of the economy hanging above us. Right?
Yeah.
They can't hold the economy against us. That's the only reason we're in the mess we are. So let's take the economy away from them. Good old-fashioned, I don't know, go watch yourself some Ocean's 11 if you need to get some inspiration or something. But this is a heist. We
Yeah.
are taking the economy from the government. We know how to do it. We've been waiting for the world to do it for 7 years now. And we're excited because we're here. We're ready for it.
Yeah, it's gonna come. It'll take a little bit of time, but I mean, that's just it. Imagine if you and we start trading in our own what we figure is an honest ledger, whether it's cryptocurrency or gold and silver.
Yep. Or an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we just start trading and bartering, and then we get other people on board with it, and it just starts taking off.
Mm-hmm.
Now all
Doesn't
of a sudden,
take long.
yeah.
Doesn't take long.
Now watch, the government needs services from us. They're going to be forced to come to our heels,
yep,
and start licking our boots because we have things that they need that everybody else wants. So in order for them to not be obsolete, they're going to have to change their ways.
Well, and in some cases, regardless of what they say about changing their ways, their history dictates that the licking of the boot will need to be a boot kicked into their feet. Like let's actually break teeth. Like some of these people do not deserve.
No,
and it's true. They do not deserve to have life here on this planet. For as beautiful as we are able to create such a wonderful world of nature, there are people who are an existential threat to the beauty that we can experience. And it's important that we learn as best as we can from the lessons that arise from the catastrophes of letting them have the reins in any capacity. But once we realize, oh, that's our mistake, no problem, we should be like the rest of the animal kingdom and absolutely destroy the threat. And make it where there's no coming back from this. Now, we've had to do it many times, especially with this same mortal enemy. We've had to do it many times. And unfortunately, what happens is because people have this capacity to be scared of something that is not real, they can be manipulated. And so then these people that are the destroyers of mankind, led, by the way, they're supposed to be doing that, by the way. That's why it's not a religion. It's called a cult. In their cult, they are supposed to destroy the rest of life. That's what they're supposed to do. And so it only makes sense that we do everything that we can to ensure that such a threat to our lives is not something that we must be scared of going forward. And yeah, teeth need to be kicked in by that boot. Leave the licking for the Pierre Poilievres and the what's that guy's the Yahoo
Maxime Bernier.
Maxime Bernier, yeah, that's the guy. Just let them do the boot licking because that's how it's supposed to work. The government serves the people, full stop. The people are the majesty, by the way. When you actually take a look at how the law works, the people are the majesty, and when the government takes an action against its majesty in any capacity, even if it's 1 cent of fraud, that's actually called treason. And the punishment for that in Canada is, and I quote, hung by the neck till dead. So my question to every politician that I ever come across when I get to this point is I ask, so tell me, when is it that you will be joining the people, we the people, as enemy of the state? Renounce your oath, stop serving foreign unelected interests, and actually help the people form a de jure government. Oh, no? Okay, well, thank you very much for letting everybody know publicly that you are an enemy of the people. Full stop. We don't have to discuss this. This is exactly what's happened, and it's unfortunate that. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to say that. It's not unfortunate that we have to use such harsh words. I'm really grateful that we're at the point where we still can. It's not too late. We can avoid the harsh consequences. of continuing to vote for these people. They're not even people. Inhumane. Anyway.
Well, yeah. Why should we be participatory in that? Because again, we're giving the bootlickers
Yes.
their power.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not supposed to have any power. Like that's the whole idea. It's the people that are supposed to have the power. Oh, it's a democracy. Yeah, right. Even if you knew the meaning of the word, you wouldn't be using it to describe what it is that you have. You know?
Yeah.
And even if it was, you don't. Why do you want that? Like throughout history, and it doesn't take long to figure this out either. For like 2,400 years, we've all of us had more than. I'll bet you there's been 50 examples of empires that adopt democracy and then crumble because it is just a terrible, terrible system. The only democracy that I would suggest to anybody, it would be an Athenian democracy. Do you know how those guys did it before? What an Athenian democracy was like? Oh well, it was really nice actually. The politicians, they were under contract to serve for free. And if there was ever a record of them profiting from their position, they were executed. That's the only democracy that I would suggest someone actually take on.
Yeah.
Because if there are no severe consequences to the fraud, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Look at what they've done. Premeditated genocide via an experimental bioweapon of mass destruction. That's the mile they took when you gave them the inch of forgiveness and tolerance in your democracy. Well, enough ranting.
Well, and that's why I know you've said it too, right? Republics are better than democracies because the system unites the people, not the other way around. Whereas democracy unites the government, not the people.
Right. Yep. And unites the government against the people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just the word representation. Like when you really dig into that, you realize, wait a second. No. These politicians are representing you.
Yeah.
Me.
It's like which figure do you want to believe and trust? The mirror or the one that is conducting the mirror or the one that is the image, right? Or creating the image.
Yep.
You're either the instructor or the reflection. What are you going to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And make your choice. And remember that it is yours.
Yeah.
So, here's a question. Which Baldur's Gate do you play? 1 or 2? Is it 2? Is that the one you have?
Sorry?
Baldur's Gate. Which is the one you have?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate.
Is that 2 or 1?
It's 3, actually.
Oh, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? Not available on Mac, even though the other ones are.
Ah.
Like, it's just one thing after the other, eh? Yeah, well, okay, it's just tough to prioritize that for the gaming bubble, I guess. Is that a cross-platform game as well?
I think it is. Yeah. So if you have like an Xbox or something like that, you should be able to use it on there.
Okay. Oh, and there's even on PS5 as well. Oh, and then there's physical deluxe. You get a poster, patches, map, game box. Wow. What you working on? Oh, is that supper?
What's that?
Is that working on supper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right on.
Yeah, I'm just adding some salt to the soup.
Oh, did you see this thing here? This this woman coming out talking about her scary trafficking, her being trafficked to Pierre Trudeau.
Really?
Yeah, she just come out about it. Here, I'll put it on.
I always had a distance from the perpetrators, and I always knew that they were wrong, and that I, was a human being, and that they.
So,
Oh, I got skipped.
why is this so parallel to the allegations made against his son? How does the deep state take down people that's just messy to take them out with violence or to just terminate them, right? This is not the first victim.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? It's like
these stories
she comes out with it.
are exactly the same. These victims have,
she comes out with this story now, and it's like, why now? Oh, right, because they got to start programming the people that Trudeau's a bad guy so they don't vote for him. That's right. They got to get this is how the deep state gets you to vote for the other side, folks. This is not new information. She's talking about what happened back in the 70s. Why is this now all of a sudden becoming popular and famous? Oh, right. Elections are coming up.
Well, again, it's the exact same thing that was going on in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They flipped the script on Biden, and they attempted to make Kamala Harris likable, which that didn't work. So then the alternative was again Trump. So it'll be the same thing here in Canada, of who's going to be selected, not elected, selected. It's
right.
The same game.
That's right. That's right. No different.
Even seen this clip yet, so I'm sure we'll be talking about this. But for me, 2 weeks in a row, almost the same accusations of our politicians, given the history. And I mean, there's no concrete evidence here yet. There's no concrete evidence. This is just allegations and circumstantial evidence. But at this point,
it's really unbecoming as well. Like, the right is supposed to, be a lot more, what do we call that? Upstanding in their tactics. It's like, no, guys, come on. The left did this with Trump and the what was that name of that one justice or something like that, or I can't remember, but Kavanaugh, whatever his name was. Remember that was years ago. He was a rapist, blah blah blah, and it's like, you guys are just using the same strategy that they were using against Trump. They were just using the same strategy against the Republicans before, right? Yeah. And again, it was all about the division. If we can get people to be divided, we can get control. If they can't get us divided, they can't get control. That's the frustration.
Yeah, and that's why, and that's exactly why you and I talking, it's the same scenario just being played over again.
Yeah.
Same as what happened in the U.S. Here we are.
Yep. here we are now seeing the deep state prepare the hearts and minds of the disenfranchised Canadian to the Conservative Party because Pierre Poilievre is awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Said why she couldn't please Justin's father, Pierre. That she couldn't please him when she was alive. That stuck to me as 100% true because this is documented, the same statement from other victims, right? I'm seeing some requests here in some of the chats that people want me to play that original video. I'll tell you what. I will play. I'll do it. I didn't play it initially, and I won't play. I did a couple of videos on it. One where I dissected what I thought about it, and I've got just the original release. So what I'll do is these are the allegations against Justin by TPV Sean. And again, I want to remind folks that this is circumstantial, but how long do you smell smoke before you start looking for fire?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, because you guys requested, this one makes me uncomfortable. So if there's anybody out there that's uncomfortable with this is not my allegations.
Seized footage from Sean Diddy Combs' notorious parties allegedly feature Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in scenes that will rock the political establishment in Canada and send shockwaves around the world. From his prison cell, Diddy is now attempting to influence witnesses, haunted by fears of meeting the same fate as Jeffrey Epstein, who was waxed by the elite before he could testify. The tension is compounded by rumors that Trudeau is set to be the next high-profile figure to face public exposure. Trudeau has survived countless scandals in his career, but this time there's no covering it up. The tide has turned, the truth is being laid bare, and it's about to expose the system of elite paedophilia practiced by the global elite. Before we dive in, join the People's Voice Locals community if you haven't already, and sign up to become a member of the world's first ever cyber nation that truly believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of your dreams. Visit joson.com and click the Join Us button today. It's completely free. Justin Trudeau's mother was a socialite who enjoyed nothing more than abandoning her husband and children to spend days at hedonistic sex and drugs orgies in New York with the world's most famous rock stars. It seems the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
She did do all of that. There's pictures of her sitting around and without wearing underwear as a groupie at the Rolling Stones concert. She was a groupie for the Stones. In the old days, we would have called her a hoe. That's Justin's mom.
Wow,
Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, also has a taste for the high life and enjoys nothing more than fraternizing with the entertainment industry elite. Unfortunately for Trudeau, he has been named in court documents connected to Sean Diddy Combs, and victims and whistleblowers are coming forward to ensure justice is served.
No. Self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the kids alone. You sick fuck.
Texas-based attorney Tony Busby has got a list of names that he says will shock.
I gotta say it. Gotta turn down his volume, so it's like, guys, like, why are you expecting these people to behave differently? Like, that, I think that's why. Like, it's like my big aha moment when I realized just how thick this was going to go, how deep people were going to take this, was when the BC government came out with that statement talking about how glory holes needed to be used to reduce the spread of COVID-19 during sexual intercourse. That's when I was just like, oh, it's over. No one's going to buy this. Everybody's waking up now. Yay, they messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, was I ever wrong? You know, and it's like, here, still going on. It's still going on. This is just taking a different form of lunacy, where it's like, why are people expecting our leaders to do anything for us? Like, why are we expecting them to behave a certain way? Why are we expecting them to do something other than be degenerate filth bags? I don't get why we expect something good out of these people. They're not good people. I mean, you have a position that's capable of locking down an entire economy. Anybody that seeks it is not a good person. Like, you don't glorify someone who puts their name on a ballot to be a tyrant. And oh, P.S. by the way, if you don't think that they're tyrants, well, just remember that they take oath to serve foreign unelected interests, and that's disclosed publicly, and you're voting for them, right? So again, don't expect them to do something other than destroy you, because that's what they're hired to do by those foreign unelected interests. The problem is not that they are stupid, that they don't know what they're doing, these people are being ridiculous, they shouldn't be behaving this way. No. They're doing exactly what they were hired to do. That's why they're getting raises. I mean, that's how it works. Remember, like, if you do a good job at your job, how you get a raise? Yeah, he's doing a good job at his job, which you elected him to do, and so he gets raises. And it's like, oh, but now we got this, look at how bad he is. He's not doing anything about the migrant crisis. It's like, no. You didn't do anything about the migrant crisis back when the migrant crisis started before he was elected. His platform was the migration crisis, and it was still something that I didn't vote for Trudeau. No, you voted for someone in a corrupt system that is capable, that has positions capable of doing what it is that Trudeau has done. That is on you. No, you didn't vote. You don't have a right to complain. No, I'm sorry. You did vote. You don't have a right to complain.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't vote for him. No, a vote in a corrupt system is a vote for a corrupt system.
Yeah, exactly. It was a vote for inaction. Mm-hmm. That's what your vote was. The vote in a corrupt system was a vote for inaction, because you're voting for someone who does not represent you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not your mirror. Nobody can be your mirror. Nobody is your mirror image.
Yeah. Okay. That's my rant on that.
Far-left fathers who initiated them into the global elites. And they were both divorced by their wives because they are elite globalist pedophiles. We have the details after this important word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor, that's why
Hey, don't trust the big pharma pills. You got to use ours. Why? Because we reported on the big pharma pills. I've got my frustrations with the whole supplement world. I honestly think that's just as much of a scam as pharmaceuticals. I really do. Like, if there's something medicinal you need to take, go and take that. But, I mean, you're putting synthetic chemicals in your body. Why do people think that that's meant for human consumption? I don't know.
Well, exactly. Like, even you said, like, you could go on a hike with Taya and learn everything you possibly need that you can pick from a tree or a leaf or a bush.
Yeah.
And boil a tea or something like that and extract the nutrients you need to survive.
Yep. Yeah. Like, all the medicine we need, it should be in our food. If you're having to supplement, there's something wrong. Like, you're not eating the right food, right? Oh, but our soils are depleted with lack of nutrients. No. In fact, you know what? The prairies, untouched in full permaculture mode, that's great soil. It's awesome. It goes and grows amazing grass, and that grass has all the nutrients that a cow needs to grow all of its organs and live and build all kinds of muscle for you to eat. And if you eat those organs, you are actually getting those cells that your body needs to build the same organs, right? Like, if you're having some liver from a cow, your body takes those cells and actually uses them to help your liver. you know, and it makes sense because those are liver cells, right? So naturally, that's how it's going to go. Now, of course, you know, people say, well, now you're basically arguing for cannibalism. No, I'm not arguing for cannibalism.
Well, see, and here again, the other argument for this of why cows right now are not great is because we're putting the antibiotics and the hormones and stuff like that in them.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's what we need to get away from. If we walk away from that and they're grass fed and we're eating grass fed beef, then we're getting exactly what you're talking about. The wonderful nutrition of the animal, which again, if the animal is not getting these antibiotics and stuff put in it, its body will naturally be able to process out all the bad things that it shouldn't have in its body. And then usually by the time we would get it, guess what? It is actually good, clean, pure meat.
Yep. Yeah, and it's most bioavailable too. Like when you eat it, your body can absorb all of it. When you have wheat in it, your body doesn't properly absorb wheat. In fact, when the body processes wheat, a lot of it, there's a, I can't remember, I have to bring up Taya for this. She knows more about it, but there's a fungus that actually crosses the blood-brain barrier and grows and cultures inside your brain. The longer you have wheat, the larger that culture. So yeah, like we're not supposed to eat, cows aren't supposed to eat wheat.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to eat wheat. So why would you put that into their body? Oh, right. That's right. That's why you would do that, to weaken and cull a herd of people.
I mean, I think there's some cases where wheat is actually okay, right? Like in Europe, I know people that are celiac. I think that's the term for it, right? That they can't eat wheat products here, but if they go to Europe and they actually have noodles and stuff like that in Italy where everything is organic, like actually organic,
yes,
they don't have those issues.
That's what it is. It's the ancestrally consistent food. The things that we've been eating for tens of thousands of years. All of the food that comes off of the plains of Canada, I mean, unless it's a permaculture farm, right? It's not a natural product. It's been engineered, it's been modified, it's been, pesticided. Like it's just riddled with toxins. It's basically like driving through Saskatchewan, man. My nose, like I had serious sinus issues just driving through Saskatchewan because of all the toxins in the air, right? And we don't need any of that. If you want to have long, big, huge fields growing great big crops that provide you lots of yield so you can make lots of money off of your acres, then grow hemp. Stop talking to the government about getting your wheat subsidized because the market prices aren't favorable. Like, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say too. That's where I was going to go with things. I was like, then grow hemp. Yeah. Because not only will it provide you a lot of substance, it'll restore your soil and get the impurities out of it.
Yep.
So don't use your first batch of hemp for eating or anything dietary. Use it for maybe building materials, right? Because
and what's interesting, you mentioned that, is that the first crop you're actually supposed to cut it down and let it go into the ground, because that's what remineralizes the soil for your first crop.
Like grass, just cut it down like grass.
Just cut it down. The hemp stalk remineralizes the soil and actually undoes the damage. Let's see what's going on
West
here.
Point Grey Academy. After becoming Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau encouraged Ingvaldson to run for political office as a member of the Liberal Party. Ingvaldson announced his desire to be Liberal MP candidate in the districts of Vancouver Kingsway and developed social media pages announcing his plans to run. However, his arrest and subsequent imprisonment on child porn and paedophilia charges have ended any chance Ingvaldson had of entering politics, even in Trudeau's Liberal Canada. The revelation that Justin Trudeau's close friend is a paedophile has come as no surprise to Canadians who've been watching the Liberal Prime Minister closely, including the opposition leader. So why did Justin Trudeau leave his teaching job halfway through the school term? Spoiler alert, it involves a very young victim. Canadian media is prevented from reporting on the story, and most of the US media is controlled by three-letter agencies and the globalist elites. So Trudeau's
The story's not allowed to be published. Oh, no, you can publish it. If you can't, that's on you.
Yeah.
Right? You can publish it. They might censor it. I get that. But you can publish it. You can put it online even. You can even put it up on a IPFS address, and now it can't be taken down. You could do that. Oh, no, I can't do it. Yeah, wake up.
prevent both the accused and Trudeau from acknowledging any aspect of that relationship without triggering a 6 to 7 figure liquidated damages clause. The penalty starts at $500,000 and scales up, depending on the magnitude of the breach. Trudeau and the underage girl engaged in a long affair on and off campus, while Trudeau taught drama and French at West Point Grey Academy. Trudeau was discovered by the girl's father at their family home, which prompted private demands to school administrators that he be removed from his position immediately. There was a small settlement at the time, the girl's father told the Chronicle, but declined to provide details. The relationship was discovered several months after Pierre Trudeau's death. He died on September the 28th and was eulogized by his son on October the 3rd, an event that made the younger Trudeau a rising political star, around whom liberal Canada and the rest of the world would swoon. Some of his very young students were like putty in his hand.
This picture bothers me. This picture bothers me about Trudeau more than any other picture. This picture just, the fire inside of me lights up immediately because look at the way he's sitting there, right? Y'all know what's under a kilt, right? See any adults sitting on the floor in front of him? This picture just infuriates me.
His friends say. At the time, the
That's a
family
pretty
was
good
told
one.
that the school's
That's a
standard
pretty-
employment
that's a
agreement
pretty
included
telling one.
confidentiality terms that would be binding on Trudeau after his departure. As a matter of policy,
But again,
Grey Point does not comment on personnel.
should we expect decent behavior from Castro's son? Bastard son. Like, should we really expect anything good about them?
I think people should make the connection that Castro means castrate.
Trudeau's behavior would have been illegal at the time. Is Trudeau another compromised paedophile, destroying his country from the inside and controlled like a puppet by the global elites?
Who cares if it's a pedophile or not? They're just like grasping at straws. Like, okay, you know what? I wouldn't put it past him. There's no question. I wouldn't put it past him at all. But this isn't about whether or not he's a pedophile. Come on, please. Like, if that's what you have to cling on to in order to get shit done, I guess, sure, whatever. But please tell me that there was there was a line that you've drawn somewhere before this. You know, like you didn't need to wait for you don't need to wait to discover whether or not he's a pedophile to hold him to justice. Like, is he a pedophile that is destroying the nation? Who cares? He's destroying the nation. Like, isn't that the problem? Like, yes, pedophilia is terrible. Yes, let's end the trafficking. But that's not why we're cracking down on Trudeau. In fact, we're cracking down on Trudeau because his job is to destroy the country, and nobody cares. In fact, not only do they not care, they can't wait until the next election to put someone else in power to not remove the powers that they hated Trudeau for exercising. You know, like, oh, retarded people. So retarded.
Well, yeah, like who are we going to vote in? Someone who's going to deconstruct our society slower?
Yeah, like, oh. No, it's not that bad. Go read the oath. Read the oath and come back to me and tell me it's not that bad.
To this deep hole tonight with all of this, but I just kind of wanted to initially give an update that there was more allegations, but I hope you guys have seen a whole different set of sides of Justin Trudeau here throughout this tonight. And I hope you guys enjoyed the roast. A little bit of a impromptu, unexpected comedy night. Tomorrow it'll be back into the swamp again. Well, God willing, wake up again tomorrow morning. We'll be talking about Mr. Trump's announcement today, trying to stop World War III. That Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, I'm done. He's finishing up the show anyway. Yeah. Or what do you think about the whole ceasefire? Don't hit Russia. What do you think about that?
Honestly, it's and Mike Adams had. I watched Mike Adams' interview with Jeffrey Prather, and both of them are brilliant minds. Jeffrey Prather actually worked for the United States military, so very brilliant man. And his assessment was, and I'd have to agree with him, based on it being mutually assured destruction, it's not going to happen. Because
the war is not going to happen, or the ceasefire is not going to happen.
Like nuclear war isn't going to happen.
Oh, nukes aren't going to happen.
Yeah. So, because I mean, I let's face it, I think that's basically everybody's.
And maybe that's why he's partying like it's the end of the world.
Sorry.
I think that is basically everyone's biggest concern, right? Is it if one nuke goes off somewhere in the world, it's going to be a free for all, and it's going to and the world's going to be non-existent in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then I agree.
So
I think still it's just a publicity stunt, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, we can't wait till Trump's in there.
Yeah, exactly. I look at Trump as like the almost. I wouldn't say he's the false prophet, but by gosh, he's damn near it. Damn near it, because he is a sense of false security that we're all being given.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way I can think of to put it. Because we're most people, at least everyone who's on the Trump train, is falling for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just gonna let things skedaddle on by with the stupid unanimous cabinet that he's installed. It's disgraceful.
Mm-hmm.
They're. Yeah, a lot of them.
When exactly did he start draining the swamp? Exactly. When did that start?
I don't think it did. It never did.
Man.
The swamp's still here. Like,
I mean, he might have flicked a few lily pads here and there, but I mean...
Well, and that's exactly it. Like, okay, I know Wayne Peters, like when we were on a call with him, he talked about that Wayne is optimistic that he thinks a lot of things are going to change in the next little while based on Trump, getting inaugurated and stuff like that. And maybe some things with JFK, some things might change with the pharmaceutical industry, but I think the buck is going to fall a very long way short of what people's expectations are. And it's going to be the greatest thing that you and I will ever see, because once again, we're going to go, told you so.
It is a good feeling.
Yeah.
It is a good feeling.
I
hope people I think what's going to happen, and I'm starting to notice this now. It's been 4 years since I started talking about what's happening today, like openly, right? I was sharing more privately beforehand, like in 2017, 18, 19. But then, when I started really getting vocal online, it was like one or maybe two people that I knew from before COVID that continued to know me, like be friends with me. That was it. And what I'm noticing now, after 4 years of being fairly consistent, I mean, I've been pretty bitter about the whole thing for a long time, and so I didn't make very many friends. But it's I'm noticing more and more people are sticking around longer because they're like, oh no, this guy actually wasn't crazy. And they know now to listen to what I have to say because, hey, he was right about this 4 years ago. What's he talking about today that we need to know about 4 years from now? Because really, that's the more important question that people should be asking. You know, not about whether or not there was election fraud. Oh my gosh, there's election fraud that's been going on for over 100 years. I mean, the first time that it happened was when the blacks were allowed to vote in the 1800s. They were already cheating on elections then. So it's like, you think that that's now the topic of the day? Wow. Okay. Thanks for not catching up. You know, like, by the way, you can have, you know, perfectly immutable elections with blockchain. You're welcome. You know, what are you waiting for type thing, right? I would love it. And this is where I need to stop getting so bitter and angry, is when people don't want to learn. I take it personally. You know, it's like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it that this simple thing about our future can't be something that I can communicate clearly enough for someone else to be incentivized to want to learn how they can stop this whole thing from happening in their life? I don't know. I don't know what the secret is, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and we've got to stop taking it personally, because it's everybody's on their own journey, right?
Yeah, totally.
I know. I wish you could grab someone by the scruff of their neck and start rattling them and shaking them and going, snap out of it. But they won't.
I've often thought too, like, what if I was able to take this I don't know, this predisposition that I have to question the authorities, and because it's healthy, you need that. You don't trust your authorities. Like, don't trust them. It's bad if you do, right? And anytime they have the capacity for some sort of exercise of power, you definitely don't trust them. And you just you stay on top of them. I wish I could take that part of me and, you know, take it out with a syringe and then put it into somebody else. Like, that would actually be a good injection, because then I would have, you know, some more relatability, I think, in my immediate surroundings. Well, anyway, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was good. Sounded like Radka just got home.
Yeah, she just got here.
Right on. Cool. Well, I'm going to call our quits for the night, and you have a good rest of the evening. And,
you too. We'll chat, I'm sure, tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. The market analysis is going really well. Things are moving right along. So I'll stick around tomorrow morning after. I'll stick around. So when you're done your route there, come on in. We'll visit for a while.
I've got to do propane training tomorrow, so I'll be in Edmonton. Yeah, learning how to top up a propane bus, which is I'll very rarely ever deal with that unless I start driving at Edmonton.
Right.
But part of being a driver mentor now, it's probably something I should have. So.
Yep, for sure.
So, all right. I mean, feel free to text me whenever, and we will chat soon.
You bet. Take care.
All right. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Give us a like and a subscribe if you have any questions, or if you'd like some help in setting your life up to be ready for this great reset. Let me know. You can go to manknownaspol.com/connect. Oh, here. Let's get that little ticker there and put that up for now. Right there. There we go. Go ahead, go manknownaspol.com/connect, and you can join our Telegram. You can join. You can even join our trading sessions every morning, 7:15, and you can also book an appointment with me there. So, thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.